Greetings, viewers. Welcome to another video by yours truly, Aziz Draws. Today is going to be another original art that I was working on. This one I titled A Space Selfie. And as you can probably look at from the reference, it's originally a character I made for another work of art I did called Outer Space Broadcast is what I called it. Forgot the name there. But I just kind of wanted to follow up like the potential story that could go on with this character. So I had this concept of, okay, in the first one, he's coming out of his space pod to explore space above the planet. And he's just kind of playing around. And then sooner or later, he travels some more and then lands on a planet. And he encounters this planet that's very wonky with its gravitational pull. Things are just floating up in the air, water's going up, clouds are looking funny, rocks hovering over each other. The greenery is not greenery, it's purplery. But, you know, just to have this kind of interesting planet landscape going on while he's taking a selfie. He's like, oh, this looks cool, let me take a picture. See, what he should be doing is escaping because this looked dangerous. I'm surprised he's not floating, but whatever. He decides to take a selfie. And so I wanted to compose the drawing to show him performing the selfie action. So he's in the forefront, but I wanted it to have enough space for the background to really show what's going on. There were a variety of different ratios for the composition I was playing around with. I figured I'd follow the ratio that Instagram can take, so I didn't have to, when I presented it on Instagram, I don't have to worry about borders and stuff. So I just went for that ratio, and it was wide enough that it would allowed me to show the landscape without providing it too much space. So that was nice. This took a while. Like, really, it took a while. I believe I started 2 days prior, and judging by the recorded data, it says about 7.5 hours ish or so. I know it took longer because earlier there wasn't footage of me sketching the entire landscape, so that I'm sure took me probably another extra 30 minutes or so. So I'm assuming in total I spent about 8 hours of work time on this drawing, and a lot of it was due to the background. I mean, you can see right now I was blocking out the landscape just to give me a general idea of where the shadows and light would play. And then, as you can see, I'm starting right now the detailing of the mountains. I don't know. I was just like, you know what? I want it to be incredibly detailed. And so I decided to go for it. Here I was trying out potential filters for me to use onto the artwork to give it an extra layer of interest. One idea I had was to have water droplets coming up into the sky, and I don't know, I didn't like how messy it looked to me, so I scrapped it. But I did end up using a different type of filter afterwards. But as you can see, I'm continuing my detailing for the rocks and the clouds. The clouds, I don't know, I wanted them to be pink just because I can. If there's any color decisions I made here, it was because they either looked pretty to me or it was because I could do it. And so you have the clouds being pink, and they have these vertical streaks to follow up this vertical line pattern that's going on throughout the composition. You can see the water's doing something similar. The rocks are floating up. It's just to emphasize on the fact that things are floating upward. I wanted to make sure, as you can see on the back of the mountain, to have to understand the scale of the detail. That was something that I found was not necessarily challenging, but something I had to keep mind of, because here I am doing all these details, but I need to remember that some parts of the landscape are closer than others to the viewer, so I have to make sure the details go with that accordingly. So that was just something I had to keep in mind. And you can see on the forefront the details are closer, so there's certain things that you can see, like pebbles, cracks, stuff that you wouldn't be able to see on the further mountains. They're going with the clouds. They kind of remind me of Dr. Seuss clouds because of how many lines I put in it. This is the filter that I decided to go with, where I would add a second layer for the multiply section of the mountains, and then I would use a mask to paint away that layer. So you would have two multiply layers, one that's just completely flat, and then the second one would have the paint strokes so that it would add that depth into the shadows, because as you can see on the right side, there's too much dark, undefined space. So I just wanted to come in with another layer and just add that soft shading, and I like the way that it ended up looking. It almost gave it a realistic look in a way, which is what I didn't really expect. When I was doing it, I was thinking, okay, it'll add more detail, it'll give it some more variety in its appearance, but I didn't realize how much impact it had on making it look more realistic. And another layer of realism was to add the fade or the fog that you would see in landscape photos, just from the atmosphere in the molecules covering up further subjects of the landscape. So I wanted to make sure that I did that, and doing so really helped with the composition. But yeah, that is my new original artwork. Thank you guys for watching. Oh, and thanks for the subs.